We are a small piece of something very large, a tiny cog in a machine so incomprehensibly monumental that there's no way to even know how small we are and how big it is. The universe is changing all the time, ever expanding in ways we can't comprehend. And like a grain of sand on all the beaches of the world, our knowledge of it is minute. Everything we have ever known is but a drop of water in the ocean. Lovecraft once said that we live on a placid island of ignorance, in the midst of the black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday the piecing together of dissociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. Science plays a large role in a lot of Lovecraft stories, with scientific explorations leading various characters to discoveries that shocked and scared them. Every god he describes in his writings aren't divine, they're extraterrestrial. These beings at the end of the universe are aliens that operate above and beyond our level of understanding. Whilst science is tantalizing in the things that it presents, the jump forward in the comfort of living, the things it can do for us, the fear is in the day that it knocks on the door of the infinite and something answers. Like Daniel touching the orb in Amnesia: The Dark Descent for the first time and accidentally setting in a series of events where the otherworldly shadow follows and kills people he's visited, some doors that are opened cannot be closed. Who knows if the next scientific discovery is just us blundering blindly into our own doom. The fear of the infinite is not knowing. In 1977, the Big Ear Radio Observatory of Ohio University was monitoring the night sky as it had been for many years, looking for signs of life in the universe. When unexpectedly, it picked up a signal, known today as the WOW signal. Before anyone could process what it was, it slipped out of range since the observatory could only monitor a specific part of the sky for a few hours as the Earth rotated, and by the time the Earth shifted to face the region of sky the signal came from again, it was gone. To this day, nobody knows exactly what was being transmitted from space. It could have been a final cry from a lost civilization, it could have been a broadcast from an intergalactic traveler, or it could have been a message from an unearthly being. We will never know. The universe is terrifyingly big, and dipping our toes into an ocean that massive will undoubtedly entice predators our way. In the story All Tomorrows, the future human race expands and colonizes planets in our solar system, filled with confidence and optimism of their place in the universe, until encountering the Q, a race of extremely powerful beings that toy with humanity as if they're playthings, reducing various colonies to slabs of sentient meat that span the entire planet, or pathetic creatures that were designed as jokes for this race of beings to mock and belittle. Millions of years of a torturous existence with natural evolutions that push us so far away from what we ever imagined humanity could be, whilst living in fear that one day the Q would return. But for every intergalactic being, there will be those who worship it, whether out of fear or admiration. It's a common trope in a lot of horror media. At the entry level, there's a group of fanatics in the film The Mist, who turn to superstitious beliefs when presented with the events unfolding around them, taking part in sacrifices as herd mentality takes over, regressing back into some animalistic instinct that appeasing what they don't understand will somehow result in them being spared the horrors.
We want the boy.
You
We
get
want
back.
the boy. No, you give us.
You get back! Boy, get up!
Damn it! Grab that boy. Grab it. Get up. Get the boy too. Kill him.
The limits of belief is determined by how far you're intending to go. There's the unitologists of Dead Space encouraging the horrific transformations that the marker brings, the genetic code rewritten agonizingly as they die and are reborn as the monstrous necromorphs. Cults are both easy to present in horror games as something that's so familiar since they're just normal people, but so foreign as an ideology or concept that they're so far removed from what you'd imagine as normal that it's difficult to understand or have any sympathy for them. This isn't real life. The cults of cosmic horror have foregone humanity. The ones presented in Lovecraft's work, like the Esoteric Order of Dagon, obeyed orders and participated in inbreeding with the Deep Ones in a trade for fish and riches, and if you weren't in on the cult, you were the first to be sacrificed to Dagon. Video games present cults as cannon fodder, with you gunning them down in droves, in too many games to count, but there's always more to it. The human behind the cloak still remains, and all that separates you from them is their belief. The problem with many cults in Lovecraftian stories is that it's easier to present them as the antagonists over any real cosmic threat, because for a cosmic threat to be both infinite and impossibly powerful, they can't be defeated. You can't present a protagonist who's both hopelessly weak in comparison to the cosmic being, and yet still have them kill it. The fear is gone once you bring the infinite down to your level. Bloodborne only gets away with this because many of the Great Ones you fight have been left behind in the Ascension, with many of the true Great Ones in Bloodborne's universe existing in planes above the events of the game, only spoken about in text because you can't perceive their existence. There's a difference though between scientists accidentally opening the door to the horrors of the universe and cults willingly enticing the infinite to our doorstep, but the results are the same. But cults can be stopped. Intentions can be prevented. In the film Prince of Darkness, the priest smashes the mirror that the devil was using as a gateway to enter our world, sealing him behind the broken shards. And it's small, but the end can be postponed. The human element, however, is always the weakest part. That goes both ways. Cosmic horrors are never truly defeated, they just go away, back to sleep until their time comes again. But unlike the powers that dwarf us, the cults that worship them are as flesh and bone as you and me. We can't stop the infinite, but we can stop those who want to bring it to us. The hopeless, hapless protagonists of Lovecraft stories contrast heavily with the video game protagonists. It doesn't always end in death, but a victory is always out of reach. It's a short-lived stalemate. Even if you win now, we all lose later. Thank you for watching today's video. It's been a bit of a while since the last one, and I'm unsure if I have anything else to talk about in the cosmic horror spectrum, but if I think of anything, then we'll be back here again. Next time I want to talk about horror game antagonists and what makes the perfect villain in both gameplay and design. I haven't started writing anything yet and it may be a while before that's out. The next video will probably be Faith Chapter 2, and then it's a bit uncertain as I get closer to Halloween, but I'll try and have some content out there anyway. I hope everyone's enjoyed this series so far. The soundtrack version will be up on the side channel sometime after this video is up, and there will be a link in the comments to that. A big thank you to the patrons as usual for supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.